Um, so Parshas Bamidbar, which is the Shabbos, is usually most of the time read as the Shabbos before Shavuos. The Shabbos before Shavuos usually is Parshas Bamidbar, and there are many reasons for that, which we're not going to get into at the moment. But the exception for that, of course, is on a leap year. On a leap year, so Parshas Naso falls before Shavuos. Now, but being that this year is not a leap year, and because Bamidbar is the Shabbos before Shavuos, and even though there will be time on the Tuesday, next Tuesday, before Shavuos, to speak about Shavuos, I'm going to speak about Shavuos now, because what I want to do is explain how we get ready for Shavuos. And it gives you a little bit more time to put it into action. So it goes like this. The Pasuk tells us, a Pasuk in Dvarim, Raki shomer l'cha shmar nafshecha ma'oid. That was the emphasis. That's the emphasis. Ushmar nafshecha ma'oid. And be very careful with your souls. Yeah, we have a soul and we have to be careful. Lest you forget the things that you saw with your eyes. Unless you remove them from your awareness all the days of your life, every single day. And you should teach your children, and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and all the way down on the day to remember, to be aware of, to be part of that which took place when we stood at Sinai to receive the Torah, which is, of course, the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Now, that presents a bit of a difficulty. Moshe Rabbeinu was talking to Klal Yisrael before, in Dvarim, that was after all this, right? It was the end of the 40 years. Eila Dvarim Asher Diber Moshe was the farewell address of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's the whole Chumash, but it's the farewell, with a review and so on of Moshe Rabbeinu before he leaves. So who did he speak to? Who did he speak to? These people were not alive. These people weren't there. Anyone who was over 20 at the time of Ma'amad Har Sinai, they all died out. So these are only the children. The women and the children. I didn't finish. The women, I put the children first because it says, no, you're right. So there, you're right. Okay, so it's the children, the women, that were less than 20 years old at the time of Ma'amad Har Sinai. That's it. That's all. That's who they were. So how can he say to them that what you saw with your eyes? All right, so the lady saw. But how do you say what you saw with your eyes? So the answer has to be something very specific in regard to what took place at Ma'amad Har Sinai. And what took place at Ma'amad Har Sinai is this. We'll see in a moment. We have to know that the night of Shavuos, that's coming up in a little over a week, the night of Shavuos is the most lofty and elevated night of the entire year. I even told you this once before. I think that the Arizal says in the sphere of time that's leading up to this great, wondrous moment, you can accomplish more in Ruchnius than you can do on Yom Kippur. So the Arizal said that our achievements in Ruchnius, in many respects, throughout the coming year, is very much dependent on how we relate to Shavuos night. Klal Yisrael had to prepare for Kabbalas HaTorah. It didn't just happen. This great event that happened. They prepared. They spent 49 days preparing for it. From the time they left Har Sinai until 49 days later on the 50th day when they received the Torah at Sinai. So there was a process of preparation. We too have to prepare not only good food and not only cheesecake, but we have to prepare what? Ourselves, our neshamas, our 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 yearnings. We have to prepare for Kabbalas HaTorah on that night, the night of Shavuos. We say in Birchas Hamazon, we say it every time we bench in the beginning of the second bracha. We thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we admit to you, you gave our fathers an inheritance of this land, this great, beautiful, wonderful land called Eretz Yisrael. The Ashot say, Sonu Hashem Elokeinu me'eretz Mitzrayim, and you took us out of Mitzrayim. Doesn't say our fathers. When it comes to the land, it says you gave it to our fathers. Where it comes to taking us out of Mitzrayim, it says took us out of Mitzrayim. Uftisonu mibeis avodim. And we were redeemed from the house of slavery. And the covenant that you have that is embedded in our physicality, the Altoroscha Shelima Detonu. Now, I'm going to point out something here. Do you not hear the difference? Eretz Yisrael we have because of our forefathers. You gave it to our forefathers as an inheritance, and we took it from them, and their children, and their children, and their children, 3,338 years later. And here we are today. We have Eretz Yisrael in the schools of our forefathers, which means we could lose it. And we did lose it. And we have lost it. So Eretz Yisrael is not something that is a part of our identity. We can be good, wonderful, amazing Jews outside of Eretz Yisrael, and so they were for thousands of years. But in Eretz Yisrael, you reach the epitome. That's what Eretz Yisrael was all about. But it wasn't given to us directly, but it was given to our forefathers. Whereas Yetzias Mitzrayim, we have to say, at the Seder night, every one of us have to say that we have to realize that Ki'ilu Hu Yotzam Mitzrayim, you just left Egypt. That's part of who our identity, who we are. We left Egypt. It was embedded in our personalities and our neshamas as Klal Yisrael. Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's who we are. And Toiroscha shelimadetanu. You taught us, not my father, not my grandfather, them too. But I don't have it because of them. I have it because of me. Now, how is that possible? I wasn't there. Spiritually, I was there. But I don't have any memory. I tried to remember who was standing next to me. I couldn't figure it out. Right, my wife, you're right. But no, I think there was a mechitza at that time. Okay, so, what is all this? How is this possible? I'm going to explain to you how it's possible. It's a beautiful thing. And this came to me in San Diego. I want you to know. I was in San Diego. I have to repeat this because this is really special. I was in San Diego for Yom Tov with my children, and they have an amazing Aron Kodesh. I've never seen such an Aron Kodesh, really. Gigantic. The doors go from floor to ceiling, and the ceiling is high, truly high. And in it is engraved, on those two doors, are engraved the luchos, like many other Arnei Kodesh. Yes, I wrote enough Kodesh. Then there's a curtain, you open it up, and there you see the Sifrei Torah. But there's something unique about this one. When you opened the doors that had the luchos embedded and engraved on it, you saw it on the inside too. It was engraved on the inside as well. And that kind of triggered a thought in my head. Now, thank God for that, because I had to speak on Shabbos Chalamoid. But it was something that came to me, and I think it's a truth, and I haven't seen anywhere that they make this connection. Chazal say like this, that the luchos were chorus al haluchos. The luchos were embedded, were engraved on the luchos. Now that was a real, miracle, because you could read it from either side. Here you had to engrave it on both sides to read it, okay? But at least it's a similar concept. You could see it from both sides. And the term that they use is charus al haluchos. Charus is engraved. But it also says Chazal, this is Gemara, Al tikra charus el cherus. Don't call it charus, don't call it embedded or engraved, but call it cherus, freedom. Because when we received the Torah at Sinai, we became truly free. We weren't free until we got to Bamidbar Sinai. We were not going to be beaten anymore. We were not going to suffer anymore. Our enemies were destroyed, but we weren't yet free. What is freedom? What is man cheruseinu? We said it on Pesach. What is man cheruseinu? The time when we became free. What does free mean? Free means charus. The fact that you left Mitzrayim and the fact that you stood at Bamidbar Sinai was charus. You were engraved, and it was cherus, and it was freedom. Freedom, says Chazal, when we stood at that Sinai, we were free of Avodah Zarah. We were free of the Yetzer Hara. We were free of the death. We were free of the Malach HaMaut. We were free, totally free. We were as we ought to be. That's freedom. So Chazal put together the word charus and cherus because it's the same word. Freedom and engraved. So here was it engraved at Bamidbar Sinai. Say Chazal, it's charus. Yeah, it should be engraved into your hearts. Engraved into your hearts. What does that mean, engraved? That became your heart. What is your heart? Your heart is that which gives you life. Shmor nafshe, mikol nitzor libecha, says the Mishlei. You got to guard your heart. Kimisham totzos chayim. From there comes life. Our life comes from our heart, as it were, our physical heart and our spiritual heart. So Bamidbar Sinai was engraved in our spiritual hearts, as it were, our DNA. Just as I can say, Kol shana v'shana, every time, every year. Chayiv Omar Adam, a person has to say, I left Mitzrayim. I came out of Mitzrayim. How's that possible? Because Mitzrayim was cherus. Cherus is freedom. What's true freedom? When that concept of freedom from that society of Egypt was engraved in our hearts. Charus, cherus. Never saw anybody put the two together. But it's the same word. And if you want to know what true cherus is, it has to be charus alibcha. And I mean, this I've told you too, I know, many times. I heard this from Rav Moshe Shapiro Zacharin Tzaddik Livrocha, that everybody, everywhere except Chabad, but everywhere else, you find the luchos rounded at the top. Rounded at the top. What does that sound like? Look like? A heart. Now, I don't know who came up with that idea to make a heart like that. Maybe it was a guy somewhere. I don't know. But one thing I can tell you, that's the way we write a heart for years and years and centuries. And Chazal say, Yecholus ali bechem. It should be engraved on your luach libecha, kosvei ma luach libecha. The luach of your heart, it has to be written in it. So just like Yetzias Mitzrayim is our identity, because Chayiv Adam Lomar, everyone has to say, I just came out of Mitzrayim. so too everyone has to say, I was standing at Ma'amad Har Sinai. Because that became part and parcel of our DNA embedded in our hearts. We were embedded with Ma'amad Har Sinai. So Moshe Rabbeinu could say to all the people who did not see it with their eyes, physically, they saw it with their eyes spiritually. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, Shmor nafshecha v'pen yatzuru milevavecha. Lest it stop, lest it goes away from your heart. Kol yemei chayecha. Dvarim asher ra'isa, those things that you saw and experienced at Sinai. That's the Yontif of Shavuos. That means like this, that every Pesach we can experience Yetzias Mitzrayim, really feel it, know it. That's me. I have come out of Mitzrayim. And so too every Shavuos we can be Mekabel the Torah. Now, if that's the case, just like Klal Yisrael had to prepare for Kabbalas HaTorah, so do we. They had 49 days. We don't have 49 days left. Well, we have a few more days left. Let's see what it means and how you prepare for Ma'amad Har Sinai and Kabbalas HaTorah. I'll tell you how much it was embedded. There's a very interesting Gemara in Shabbos. Okay, it's a little heebie-jeebie-like, and that's not really my custom to talk heebie-jeebie, but it's a Chazal, it's a Gemara. So just take it as it is and let's understand it. And it's brought in Halacha. It's this statement that I'm about to tell you, this event I'm about to tell you, it's Halacha. It's Halacha in Shulchan Aruch. A person should not be Mekis Dam on Erev Yom Tif. What is Mekis Dam? Bloodletting. Now, bloodletting was a form of healing, right? They would, like what do they call it? Bankis. They had also bankis, and they had hakosas. These were instruments that they bled to get out all the impurities in the blood, and they would become healed. Okay, it was a concept of hakosas adam, and that's what it was a very common thing. Says the halacha. Let me just finish this. Don't do it on Erev Yom Tif. All right, now what do you want to ask?
They put leeches on.
Right. That's the whole idea. All right, to get rid of the toxins in the blood. Okay, now. So on Erev Yom Tif, you should not do it as a gezerah, because we're afraid you'll do it on Erev Shavuos. So stopped us from doing it every Erev Yom Tif, so we shouldn't do it, but dafka on Erev Shavuos not to do it. Why? Says the Gemara like this, it's a sakana nefashos. There is a shin daled, that's the spiritual power called a shade. Yes, that's Shin Dalet. That who's a shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, even the good ones and even the not ones, they don't have a separate existence, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says like this. Its name is Tavuach. Tavuach is to shecht, yeah, to slaughter. It is prepared to kill anyone who will not be Mekabel Torah on Shavuos night. Hold on. Says the Gemara. Why? So therefore, what does that have to do with HaKosas Adam? Okay, so that's very important to be Mekabel Torah on Shavuos. But what does it mean with HaKosas Adam? Because when the blood begins to flow, it's kind of inducive for it to continue. And as the Gemara calls it, the shade will attack Bisrayu v'Domayu, his flesh and the blood. You shouldn't even pull a tooth on Erev Shavuos, even if it hurts, because if it bleeds, this shade comes in and does its business. Now, what does that tell me? Wait a minute. We were Mekabel Torah 3,338 years ago. So what does it have to do with 2026? Tavshin Pevav. Obviously, it's not a commemoration, Shavuos, of what took place, what happened 3,338 years ago, but rather we're Mekabel Torah once again. That's the true Kabbalah Torah. Now, it's not with the same unbelievable Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he did for Klal Yisrael. Why? Why not? Well, because we kind of messed it up afterwards, right? We built an ego, we destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. We can go on and on and on. Klal Yisrael has gone through many years. So obviously, we're not talking about that kind of a gilui of a revelation, but that I have to be Mekabel Torah. There's no question that that's what I have to do on Leil Shavuos. We just know, we sit there and we daven, we say Hallel, we sing, we daven, we eat cheesecake, we have a wonderful time. But it's Kabbalas HaTorah. Now, we have to understand what that means. So we've talked about this, that Moadim in the Chum called the Yomim Tovim are called Moadim. It's called Moed because of the word Yad, destiny. Ad. The purpose of the Yom Tov is to bring you there. We got to go back to Sinai. It takes us back. Yom Leil Shavuos takes us back to Bamidbar Sinai. Every year, on the date where an enormous event took place in the history of Klal Yisrael, like Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, all of these days, they're the mechanism by which we can connect into the aura, more than just an aura, into the power, into the ruchnius of that day. But Pesach and Shavuos are different. It's much more. It's much deeper than just plugging into what took place a long time ago. And we can too also enjoy it and learn from it and accomplish things from it. No, it's happening again. It's the same thing. And if it's the same thing, we have to prepare. How do we prepare? How are we going to get ready? What are we supposed to do? On Shavuos night, Klal Yisrael received the Torah, as it says, Panim el Panim, face to face. Diber Hashem imachem mitoch ha'esh. I mean, this was a conversation. It's hard. We can't. We can't even conjure up in imagination at having a dialogue with the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? But that's what took place. And it took place in 49 days. 49 days of preparation. Each day, we removed one element of the Memteshare Tuma, and we acquired one element of getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu until we were able to reach the highest level, to be able to have a face-to-face conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, Yetzias Mitzrayim. When we left Mitzrayim, it's called Isarusa de Leila, and it all came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We were not ready, we were not able, we were not good enough. We had to be schlepped out of Mitzrayim by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he came Ani v'lo Malach, Ani v'lo Sorof, as we say in the Haggadah. It was Isarusa de Leila. It all came down this way. Bamidbar Sinai, Torah is called Isarusa de Latato. From down here up, we made ourselves raw to be able to be Mekabel Torah during those 49 days. And as a result of our efforts, we received the Torah. So what did we do? 49 days worth. What did we do? Because we got to do it again. Now, 49 days, that's kind of a little past. But what do? We reached that level. You have to understand that we reached a level at Bamidbar Sinai that Chazal referred to as Paska Zuhama. The pollution that Adam Rishon brought upon himself with the Chet, which caused death, which caused us difficulties in Parnasa and childbirth, and all the things that came along with it, was as a result of the pollution that we brought upon ourselves as a result of not listening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and eating from the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra. But at Bamidbar Sinai, it was expunged because of the great Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we reached that level that no longer did we have any remnant of that pollution. Let's call it pollution. That's true. Until, of course, we lost it again. But why did we, how and why was it on Shavuos Kabbalah Satira? You know, Chazal say that the revelation that took place at the Yam Suf was as great or almost as great as what took place at Bamidbar Sinai. Ra shivcha l'yom mashalo ra Yechezkel ben Buzi b'maisei Merkava. The lowest level of Klal Yisrael saw more of the sublimeness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the all-encompassingness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all of the grandeur of HaKadosh Baruch Hu at Kriyas Yamsuf. Even a person that wasn't so, I don't even want to use the word, I hate that word. But even though those that were not, where they should be, they all saw it. Shivcha saw it. How come? What was the difference between that and Bamidbar Sinai? One thing. The Posca Zuama. At Kriyas Yamsuf, the Zuama didn't leave. The pollution didn't leave. They didn't reach that madrega. So I'm trying to build us all up to understand what did we achieve at Bamidbar Sinai that brought us to such a high level that never before and never again have we ever had that until the coming of Mashiach. So here we go. That was what the rabbi said. Before I begin to speak, I'd like to say a few words. I'm going to say a few words. That was the few words. Now here we go. Are you ready? Says the Gemara. It's a Gemara in Shabbos Peches. B'shor sheikdimu Yisrael naseh v'nishma. When Klal Yisrael put Naseh before Nishma, Bo Shishim Riboy Shel Malachei Ashares 600,000 angels came down. V'koshu l'chol echad v'yechad miYisrael shnei ksarim, and each Jew received 2 crowns. Echad keneged Naseh, v'echad keneged Nishma. Never before, not at Kriyas Yamsuf, and never since has there been such a response. From heaven on high, the angels came down and they crowned us. That means that we were malachim, man malchel rabbanon. We were kings. We were just. A bunch of, I hate this when they say that. They were slave mentality. Hate it. When we came out of Mitzrayim, perhaps the moment we came out, yes. But after one day of hard work, no. And ultimately, after 49 days, we were malachim, we got ksarim, and we reached the darga of saying, Naseh v'nishma. Says the Gemara, and it continues, that same Gemara. B'shor shehikdimu Yisrael naseh l'nishma. When Klal Yisrael said naseh v'nishma, we'll do and then we'll hear. We'll explain that in a moment. Yotza baskol, a heavenly voice came out, v'amra, and said, Mi gila rozel lebonai. Who told my children this secret? Shamalachei asharis mishtamshim. Only the angels use this. Dichsiv, Baruch Hu Hashem Alocha, take bracha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and praise. Giborei Koach, they are powerful, full of power. Osei Dvaro, they do His will. Lishmoa B'kol Dvaro. What came first? Naseh. The angels are Naseh, and then Nishma. They are prepared to do. They're up and waiting. They're at attention. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But I'm committed to doing. Says the Nesiva Shalom. That was the Slonimer Rebbe. And he said like this, what Nasha V'Nishma means is that we subjugated ourselves completely to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it was the complete negation of our will. Placing Nasa before Nishma was the greatest achievement that a human being can accomplish. We were prepared to do the will of Hashem without any preconditions. Doesn't matter what you tell me to do, I'm going to do it anyway. I like it, I won't like it. It makes sense to me, it won't make sense to me. I don't care. Why? Because you, Hashem, have told me to do it. No idea what he's going to ask us to do. That's pretty heavy. Think a minute. Here we are, standing at Bamidbar Sinai, ready to receive the Torah. Do I know what it's going to say? No, I don't know what it's going to say. Maybe I won't like it. Maybe it doesn't make sense to me. No. I said, Nasa, Rabbanu Shalom, what you want me to do, I will do. And when you tell me what to do, I'll do it. We didn't need to know the reasons why. How many of us always ask, why? Especially the kids. They do it all the time. Why? Why? Well, what does why mean? I mean, meaning it has to make sense to me. It doesn't have to make sense to you. I'm telling you. Why? Because I said so. Remember that? That was a long time ago. Why? Because I said so. You're imitating the Almighty. That's the highest level of avodah. You can't get higher than that. And that's what we're training our kids to do when we say that. My kids always used to say, remember? Daddy, it's not fair. How many of you heard that? It's not fair. So I would always say, who says it has to be fair? Somewhere it says it has to be fair. So it's not fair. But this is what I said, so do it. I mean, with a little smile and a kiss, but understand what I'm trying to get at. It was the total negation of self, and it brought about, what did it achieve? Paskazuama. That's what came about at Bamidbar Sinai. The pollution was dissipated. This went away, didn't exist anymore. Free. Charus, free. Like Adam Arisha Koydem Achet, before he should sin. Adam shouldn't sin. The great Giluyim of Kiryas HaYamsuf were wonderful, amazing, but they didn't do that because we never came to the level of Nasev and Nishman. Why did we get 2 crowns? Well, all right, you said Nasa. Great, well, so get a crown. What does the Nishma mean? The Nishma means like this. Because we said Nasa before Nishma, that's what showed the self-negation, the self-commitment to doing what Hashem said. And this is the secret of the Malachim. But when we said Nasa the Nishma, which means we are, even after I hear it and you tell me what to do, and it doesn't make sense. I don't understand. I'm going to do it anyway. And that's the Nasa and the Nishma afterward. By the way, the Nishma is extremely important. Because what the Nishma does is I may not understand everything Hashem wants of me, but the minute I say Nishma, I'm trying to understand it and I'm looking at it, I'm examining it. After I'm committed to doing it, I'm going to do it anyway. But what a difference of doing something anyway that compared to doing something anyway with an understanding of why. The why is important. And that's why we got 2 crowns. Because we have to delve not only to, okay, I'm not a robot. It didn't mean I'm a robot. I mean, I'm going to work hard. Very hard to understand your Torah, and the more effort I put in, the more I understand. The more I work at it, the more I learn, the more I put forth Yagiyah, then I understand more. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to do it. All right, yeah, you press the button, I did it. No! Nasa, you got a crown for the Nishma too. It represented a midah of that so much depends on our achieving a great levels of ruchnius, meaning a great connection to Hashem. And that midah that it represents is the midah of humility. You can't negate your will unless one is a humble person. I'm humble. I'm not. I realize that. Who am I to question you? Who am I to question you? What am I? What? A piece of flesh and blood that has a Baruch Hashem, a little bit of a neshama that's trying. You have to understand that I'm in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every time I do a mitzvah, every time I make a bracha, every time I do something that is a chesed, you know what I'm doing? I'm doing I've worlds with every mitzvah. Chazal tell us like this about Maimon Har Sinai, what took place at that moment when we said that's not seven nishma. We say in davening on Shofars on Rosh Hashanah, you revealed yourself in the heavenly cloud with your honor. Alam kodshecha, for your people to witness. Ledaber imam, to speak to them min hashamayim. You let them hear your voice, Hashem. And you revealed yourself to them, amidst the fog, amidst the darkness. Now here, it wasn't just us. When we reached the point of Nasa v'Nishma, and we were ready to receive the Torah, and Hashem began to speak to us, He was speaking to the entire world. Kol Olam Kulo. You know what Kol Olam Kulo means? What's enough with Kol Olam? Kol enough, all of the world. What's the whole Kol Olam Kulo? A double? No, because there's a halacha that Rubo Kekulo. If you say Kol, so the majority already makes it as if it was everything. It carries with it the robe. Rubo Kekulo. So we don't want it Rubo Kekulo. We want Kol Olam. It's Rubo Kulo. Everyone. There wasn't anything in the universe, not the planets, not the sun, not the angels. Listen, Kol Ha'olam Kulo Chol Mipanecha. They stood in awe of you. Briyos Rishonim, the early creations, Chartu Mimeka. They shuddered. Migaloska Malkenu al Har Sinai lelamed amcha Torah mitzvah. So what does it mean? Kishanos an HaKadosh Baruch Hu es HaTorah. When Hashem gave us the Torah, tzipor lo tzavach, a bird didn't chirp. Oflo parach, no big bird ever flew. Shor lo ga, the cows didn't moo. Ofanim lo afu, the angels didn't fly. Seraphim lo amru kadosh, the seraphim who were the highest angels of all didn't even say kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. Hayam lo nizdaza, the sea was not roaring. Habrios lo dibru, no one spoke, no human being had guts to open his mouth. Ela ha'olam shosek. The world was absolutely silent. I don't know if we could ever imagine such a thing. Imagine what it would be like. Umacharish. And they waited and listened to Yotza HaKol, and the voice came out, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. That was it. It was me. I'm it. Everything stopped. Now, if everything stopped, that means, according to the natural law of nature, what would be? The sun didn't shine, and the moon didn't move, and the earth didn't spin on its axis. What would happen? We'd all implode. No, because Hashem was about to speak. This means that creation demonstrated a complete submission to Hashem Yisborach. We know that it's only you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And everything that happens in this world is you. Nothing moved in deference to Hashem. You know why all this happened? Because we said, Naseh v'nishma. Because we said Naseh v'nishma before he spoke. That's why. And that's why it says, I mean, this is also a famous medrash. Vahiyer vayivoker Yom HaShishi, right? That's in the creation story. We say it in Kiddush, Yom HaShishi. All the other days of the creation, it says Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, Yom Chamishi, not HaChamishi. Why Yom HaShishi? The day, the sixth day. So Chazal tell us it's a hint to the fact of the sixth day of Sivan when we receive the Torah. HaShishi, this special sixth day. Why? Because if you accept the Torah, good. If not, nothing exists. That's it. It's over. So that's telling us what was going on at Ma'amad HaSinai. One of the conditions that was necessary for us to reach the darga of Naseh v'nishma was Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Hahor. Now, how should it have been written? Vayachanu Shom, and they camped in the plural. Vayachnu, but it says Vayichan. So Chazal say, B'lev echad uki yish echad. One heart, one man. A person on their own cannot hope to achieve such a lofty madrega of subjugation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on your own. But on Klal Yisrael, as together, when Klal Yisrael is b'shalom, when Klal Yisrael is functioning as Klal Yisrael was intended to function. And that is our big, big, big problem now. It's a big problem. But you know what? Big problems can have little solutions. And that means I got to get all of Klal Yisrael together? No. I just got to get me together. I have to be at one with everybody else. If I can be with one with everybody else, what everybody else does, that's not my issue. My obligation is to be good with everyone. My obligation is to like and love and know that I need you. For goodness gracious, I need everybody else because without you, there's no Naseh v'nishma. I can't do it on my own. It's a very famous. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said this, and who told it over? I think it was the Mir Rashiva Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, but he said it over in the name of the Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, and he said there was a city called Reitzin, something like that in Lita, and it was known that in this city of Reitzin there was a chabur of 3 or 4 Talmidei Chachamim that started to learn together, but not only learn together, they were working on themselves together. It was a chabura that was working to improve themselves and so on and so forth. So Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, if you would tell me that the Gaon of Vilna, now, the Gaon of Vilna is like tip-top, right? You can't get much higher. That the Gaon of Vilna went up to Shamayim with his goof. I wouldn't believe you. But if you told me these 3 went up in their goof, I would believe you. Why? Because they were a group. He was one. The group has a power that nothing else can actually meet. We need each other. We need Klal Yisrael. It was Klal Yisrael that received the Torah, not Mr. So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so. It was only Klal Yisrael. Everything pertaining to Kabbalas HaTorah is eternal, and it applies in every single generation. So the way we have to prepare, here we go, Lamaisa, okay? I mean, that's the theory. Now, what's the Lamaisa? We have to prepare for our Kabbalas HaTorah for, first of all, negating our will to the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we've got a week and a half or so to do it. A couple of days, week and 2 days. What do we have to do? We have to say to ourselves, you know what? I don't feel like doing it, and I don't really want to do it, and it doesn't make. But you told me to do it. I'm doing it. That's called negating my will. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. And the one way to get there is with humility, is spotless. I make myself recognize that who am I? Who am I? The question what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking of me to do. You can reach the highest levels that way because you realize there's nothing else but HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You become a Kadosh if you follow the Mesilas Yesharim, which is a good sefer to study. We don't do it so much these modern days. We think we're so, but the Mesilas Yesharim gives us step by step. It's a brisa because Ben Yoyer that you start with Zehirus and Zerizus and so on. There's a whole step the way to do it. But you know something? And we have seen it in our time. There's another way to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu too. And that's in just the opposite way. Another way to reach HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to reach his batlus, to feel I'm a nothing, is that I'm so distant from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I feel that there's no merit for me to continue to exist. And Rabbi Shai, listen to me. You see it today every single day. So many Baalei Tshuva start out with the idea, why am I here? And what am I doing? And I'm a nothing, and I'm just here to eat another, another 3 cows. What am I here for? What am I here for? And they don't understand. And they're at least in my early days in Kir, people were looking for MS. They were looking for truth. They were looking for meaning. They were looking for purpose of their lives. But now too, because how much lower can you get? When one feels that they're all alone without merit, drowning in Gashmias, and he feels that really there's no more purpose for me to continue, if you just give him a little bit like a thirsty person who is about to, die of thirst, give him a little bit of water. Start. Give him. And give him, and give him. So the two ends. One end is someone, Baruch Hashem, who has a recognition, and he says, you are HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Naseh v'Nishma, and the other one is the other way. But that all leads to one thing, Hispatlus, to being humble, and not thinking that I'm running the world. No. In Shir HaShirim, the pasuk says, Al Mishkabi Ba'leilos, when I'm laying on my bed at night, and that's when you're feeling pretty miserable, all alone. Bikashti Yesel Havet Nafshi. I sought out the one I love. Bikashti V'lo Mitzasiv. I looked for him and I couldn't find him. Akuma. So I got up. I couldn't find him. So I got up. I saw him over here and I went all over the city to try to find him. Bishvakim Berchovos. This is all Shir HaShirim. Avaksha Yesel Nafshi. I was looking for one I love. Bikashtiv, I still didn't find him. But in the end, I did find him. I held on to him. I won't let go. They see till I bring him al base imi to my home. This is it. Mashkavi Baleilos, it refers to a person who feels very low and lost, and he's not there. It's dark, it's night, I'm alone, I don't have any meaning. And what's the Eitzah? What do you do if you feel that way? Akumana! Basoba will be here. I'm going to get up and I'm going to look for him. Avaksha, I'll look for him. If I start looking, Matzasiv, I'll find him. That's what it says openly in Shir HaShirim. If I start looking, I'll find him. Bikashti v'sho'avo nafshi. Who's that? Kodesh Baruch. That's what we're talking about. Even David HaMelech. Yeah. בסדר.
תפקיד האישה בבית, להכין את החג. איך מגיעים להרגשה הזו שאני מחפשת אותו?
Okay. Okay. So speaking to ladies, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'll jump ahead. Speaking about ladies. Okay. Now everybody thinks, and on a certain level, that's been fed to us. Then the second level. I mean, there's a level, and then there's the second level. You got to wash dishes. You didn't get into the laundry and all that. I mean, all those things you got to do. Why do you have to make the bed? It's going to get dirty again anyway. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to wash the dishes? They're only going to get that's seemingly a non-spiritual thing. But it depends on your attitude, and it depends on the hisbatlus. And if you recognize that each and every little bit, you don't have to get up there and make speeches. You don't have to get up there and make a big drasha. You don't even have to get up there and I don't know, call 600,000 people together and make a demonstration. You don't have to do that. You know what you have to do? You have to stop and think. And this is something that I learned. I learned this from they said over that Rabbi Baruch Ber, who was a Rosh Yeshiva in Kamenetz in Europe during the war, they all fled to Vilna for a while anyway, before they were killed. But they went to the Briskov, and it was getting very bad, just like Khalila. I don't mean it's like this right now, but it's getting pretty bad right now in America and in England and all over the world. It's getting pretty bad. What am I supposed to do now? That's what they said. What am I supposed to do now? And the Brisker Rab looked at him. You don't want to know what you have to do now? Whatever you have to do now. You have to make a bracha now, make a bracha. You have to put on tefillin. You have to wash dishes for the covered Shabbos. I have to wash dishes for the covered Shabbos. I have to clean up covered Shabbos. I'm doing things, but not just emptiness. When that lady out there somewhere in, I don't know, Afghanistan, she washes dishes for no purpose. I wash the dishes for Shabbos. I make the Shabbos beautiful, even if I have a dishwasher. I mean, my wife got a brand new dishwasher, you should know. It's the best and top in the world. It's called me. It's a new brand. Now listen what I'm trying to get at is whatever you do, no matter what our situation is, if we do it because I know I have to do it because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants of me now, that's what I have to do. And if I do that, you're holding by Nasev and Nishma. And if you're holding by Nasev and Nishma, that means you're holding by humility. You're holding by being a person that's clear that whatever he does in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which I will close with also, by the way. A little bit of tefillah helps to a lot. Not a little bit of tefillah helps a lot. But you got to stand there and you have to start Hashem Svosai Tiftoch. You, Hashem, open my lips. And therefore, what comes out of my lips, I have to be careful. Because whatever I say, I know you're allowing me to say it. Do you imagine what a chutzpah? Hashem has given me this phenomenal power of speech. And I go ahead and use it for ugly things. Lashon hara, sheker. How can I do that? Hashem sposai tiftoch ufi agiti yosecha. That's what I'm not saying you got to sit there and shokel the whole davening. You know me. That's frumkeit. But what you have to, yeah. It's like, are they all watching? Are they seeing how I do it? Am I doing it too much?
I saw that I missed that last bit. Can you say
what did you miss?
This last bit where you were saying they're all going to watch me or whatever.
I'm talking about tefillah and shuckling.
Oh.
And excessive shuckling and tefillah. That's what I was talking about. I'm just the whole thing. I'm going to dominate. I have to know I'm standing in the presence of Hashem, and I have to reach a level of hispatlus, of knowing like I was standing at my Hasina. And with that, we hopefully this year together will be Mekabel Torah. And if we will be Mekabel Torah like Klal Yisrael did, we'll reach the Darga of Paschal Zuama, and Mashiach Tzidkenu will come with Meirav Yainu. Baruchim to you. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So nice. You're so encouraging, each and every one of you. I'm telling you.